A wealthy old man named Harlan is found dead in the couch with his throat cut. It was thought that he ended his own life, but 1 week after his demise, the police gather the family and his nurse again for questioning. The old man's daughter Linda goes first. She says that her father gathered his family and friends to celebrate his 85th birthday. Everyone is present, including Harlan's caregiver Marta, his very old mother Juanetta, and Linda's son Ransom, who left early from the party. When the investigator asks if she is close to her father, Linda finds it hard to answer. Her husband Richard also tells his account. He says that his wife idolizes her father, who was a best-selling mystery writer of all time. Next is Harlan's youngest son Walt, who he trusted to run their publishing company. Walt says he was so happy to be by his father's side during his birthday. After him is Joni, Harlan's daughter-in-law and wife of his son, who died years ago. She remained close to the family and says Harlan helped her and her daughter through tough times. Her daughter Meg says her grandfather gives them yearly allowance and he pays for her school tuition. While being questioned, the family notices the man who is just listening behind the officers. The police say he is Mr. Blanc, a renowned private investigator. Linda asks who hired him, and Blanc says he cannot say it. He then asks about Harlan's nurse Marta, and Richard says she is the old man's caregiver, but they treat her as part of the family, and she is a good friend to Harlan. The investigator asks about Walt, and Richard says that he was in an argument with his father at the party. Walt denies this and says they just talked about business and books. However, in the flashback, it is revealed that his father fired him from the publishing company that night. Walt says it is Richard's son Ransom who had a very heated argument with Harlan. Everyone heard their father yelling, and they see Ransom leave the party angrily. Detective Blanc tells Richard that the caterer heard him and his father-in-law in a loud argument before the party, and Harlan's words were, "You tell her or I will." It is revealed that the old man found out about Richard's affair, and he threatens to tell Linda about it. However, Richard tells the detective a different story. Blanc also asks Joni what was she doing at Harlan's office before the party. Flashback to that day, Harlan found out that Joni is stealing Meg's tuition money for the past 4 years. Because of this, the old man decided to stop giving their yearly allowance. However, Joni lies and says that they just talked about a little money wiring issue with the school. The officers asked Blanc why are they questioning the family again when it is clear that Harlan ended his own life. The detective thinks that there is something strange with the way he died. They later start questioning the caregiver, Marta. Since she is very close to Harlan, Blanc believes the old man told her everything. Upon asking her, the investigator learns that Marta vomits when she lies. That's when they learn the truth, that Richard was having an affair, Joni has been stealing tuition money, and Walter was fired by his father. It means that the three have motives for killing Harlan. Detective Blanc reveals to the officers that he actually didn't know who hired him. An envelope with cash and news clipping of Harlan's death just showed up in his apartment. Flashback to that night after the party, Marta took Harlan upstairs to give him his medication, but the old man says she needs to beat him first on the Go board. While playing, Harlan jokingly knocks the table off, causing the board and his medicine to fall on the floor.
Such a bad loser.
Marta picks up the vials and injects Harlan. However, she later realizes that she messed up and injected a huge dose of morphine to the old man. This could kill him in less than 10 minutes. She is crying as she looks for the antidote in her bag, but she can't find any. Marta tries to call an ambulance, but Harlan stops her, saying it's too late. The old man does not want Marta to be blamed for his death because if she does, her undocumented mother would be deported, and their family will be broken. So, Harlan devises a plan to take away the suspicion from her. The nurse is hesitant to do it, but when she goes back to the room, the old man has already cut his throat. She has no choice but to do the old man's plan. Marta made sure that Walter sees her leave. She drives the car and parks in the woods, goes back to the house, and climbs to Harlan's room to get his robe and hat. Marta then goes downstairs and tricks Walter again, making him think that his father was still alive after his nurse left. However, when Marta climbs down, the old Juanetta sees her. Luckily, her poor vision makes her think it is Ransom, and so Marta runs away. She tells the investigators that she just gave medicine to the old man that night and left. When asked about the medication she gave him, Marta says she gave 100 milligrams of painkiller for his injury and 3 milligrams of morphine to help him sleep. After questioning her, Marta quietly goes to the bathroom and vomits, because she lied. The next day, at Harlan's will reading, everyone is excited for their inheritance. But to their surprise and disappointment, they learn that the old man has left all of his fortune, the house, and the company to his caregiver, Marta. Everyone is outraged, and some yell at the nurse while the other tries to bribe her. During the commotion, Ransom helps Marta escape. At a diner, Ransom reveals that Harlan told him he is off his will, and that's what made him outraged and left the party. He believes that his grandfather did not end his life, and knowing that Marta pukes when she lies, Ransom manages to learn the truth from her. Marta says she is afraid that her mom and sister would be deported because of it, and Ransom assures her that he won't tell anyone about this, as long as he gets a cut of his inheritance. When she arrives home, Marta finds a letter that says, "I know what you did," written on a cutout toxicology report on Harlan, which could prove his overdose. She tells Ransom about this, and the two head to the office of the medical examiner, but the building has been burned up, destroying all the records inside. Marta learns that she had an unread email from the blackmailer, giving her an address and the time to meet. Before they can leave, Blanc and the officers catch them. They arrest Ransom because the old lady Juanetta has told the detective that she found her grandson climb down the house the night when Harlan died. Marta goes to the address that the blackmailer gave her, and she finds Harlan's housekeeper, Fran, suffering from similar overdose as the old man. Though barely breathing, Fran manages to say the word stash. Marta immediately gives her CPR and calls for 911. At the hospital, Marta finally confesses everything to the detective and says she needs to tell Harlan's family the truth herself. When they arrive at the house, she remembers the stash that the caregiver told her, and that's where Marta finds the copy of the toxicology report. She gives it to Blanc and proceeds to confess to the family. However, before she can say anything, the detective stops her and takes her to a room. The officer later brings in Ransom, and Blanc says that he has deduced the actual truth. On the night of the party, Harlan told Ransom everything, that everyone in the family, and not just him, are taken out of the wheel, and that his entire fortune will be inherited by Marta. He stormed out angrily and drove off, but then, he later sneaked back to the house undetected. Ransom switched Harlan's medicine and stole the antidote, because he knew that if Marta gets blamed for the old man's death, it will nullify the will, and he will get his share back. But then it is also revealed that because of Marta's experience, she instinctively gave Harlan the correct doses by identifying the viscosity between the two vials. It meant that Harlan was perfectly fine before he cut his throat, and it was proven by the toxicology report. Since Harlan ended his life, Ransom's plan to blame Marta for the overdose failed. That's why he anonymously hired Blanc, in the hope that the detective would mistakenly pin down Marta as the suspect. While everyone is away for Harlan's funeral, Ransom goes to the house to swap the vials back. However, the housekeeper Fran saw him doing this. Fran thinks that he has something to do with Harlan's death, so she gets a copy of the toxicology report and blackmailed Ransom with it. After talking to Marta at the diner, he learned that the nurse actually gave the correct doses, and the tox report will prove her innocence. That is why Ransom burned the medical examiner's office. He sends an anonymous email to Marta and delivers the blackmail letter to her. Ransom then meets Fran to take the tox report, and he overdosed her with morphine, hoping that Marta is going to get blamed for that too. Unbeknownst to him, the housekeeper stashed a copy of the tox report. Ransom denies all of this and says Blanc is just making up fairy tales, but then the hospital calls Marta. Fran has survived and is ready to talk. Now that he is cornered, Ransom outrageously confesses everything. Moments later, Marta pukes to his face, which meant that she lied about the call from the hospital that Fran survived. Ransom gets mad and takes one of the knives out of the wall to stab Marta, but they later realize that it is just a prop knife. Ransom gets arrested, while the rest of his entitled family stares up to Marta, who now owns the entire fortune of Harlan Thrombey. Did you like our movie recap? Please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. To be updated for new movie recaps, hit the notification bell.